Hello guys, it's Caveman PRDR. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reintroducing a build with the upcoming nerfs to the Antaeus Wards. With the upcoming nerfs to the Antaeus Wards, Long Live the Sandbox, there are several other weapon updates for weapons and armor that we'd like to shine and light on early, some coming sooner than others, which is including coming later in this season the nerf 2 Antaeus wards. These will now require full class ability energy to reflect incoming damage. Reflecting damage will deplete your class ability energy. Goal is to reduce the uptime of this exotic's effect and also make it more difficult to stack with Juggernaut shields. So that means there's going to be a nerf for Antaeus Wards upcoming, and what better way to reintroduce this exotic after Antaeus Wards gets nerfed, and this being reintroducing the PK Titan Bastion Titan specific build revolving around the Peacekeeper leg exotic. Reloads stowed SMGs and allows you to ready them instantly, improves your handling with SMGs and your movement while wielding one, which is a mobility buff, provides a moderate benefit to the AE stat of SMGs as well. And to break down the aspects that we are using, we're going to be using the Bastion and controlled demolition aspects. Bastion gives us an overshield whenever we cast our super, and also gives us an overshield whenever we cast our barricade. We will be using towering barricade. We'll be using controlled demolition. Hitting a target with avoidability or volatile explosion makes them volatile. Further damage to a volatile target causes them to explode. Grants you and nearby allies health. When volatile targets explode near you, our abilities, like we said earlier, we're using Towering Barricade, Strafe Lift, Shield Bash, and Suppressor Grenade. We're using Shield Bash to get a little bit more movement around the map a little bit quickly. There was a nerf to the charged melee ability in terms of being able to just spam this to move around the map. You would need to build a little bit more into strength now to have more uptime on this ability. You do lose a percentage of it when you use a Shield Bash just for map traversal, not necessarily for a kill. You will lose the full charge if you try to use it for an enemy kill. If you make contact with an enemy unit, it will take it away. If you just use it for moving purposes, it only takes a percentage of the melee charge. We'll be using suppressor grenades to basically a potential get out of jail free card if someone maybe pushes us with a super, or if someone maybe pushes you with the use of an ability. You can suppress them maybe before they can use the ability, or to really hinder their follow-up if they do try to get aggressive on you. For the fragments, we're going to be using some that really benefit the stat boosting. There's a lot of void, really useful fragments that take away stats, but we're going to be using some that give stats and can also be helpful as well. Echo of Expulsion we will be using to give a positive gain to intellect. Echo of Dilation, we're going to be getting a positive gain to mobility and intellect. We're already getting a gain in mobility from PKs, and we're also going to be getting an extra bit of mobility and intellect gain from this fragment as well. Echo of Leeching, melee final blows start health regen for you and nearby allies. You're a Titan, you're going to be punching people. You get a positive gain in resilience for a tier. And then Echo of Domineering. After suppressing a target, you gain greatly increased mobility for a short duration, and your equipped weapon is reloaded from reserves. This is going to be really good for PKs. You're stacking even more potential mobility. After you're suppressing a target, you will want to pair this fragment with a suppressor grenade, as that's going to be one of the two ways you can suppress a target. You can also suppress a target with the Shield Bash. These are going to be two primary counters to people wanting to cast a super. Note that if they already cast the super, specifically if it's a Well of Radiance, it's going to be too late. You can't just make the Well of Radiance go away. But say they're in a roaming super like a Thunder Crash, you can actually hit someone out of their super. If they're in something like if they're in the Daybreak Dawnblade super, you can hit them out of it. Just something to be aware of. That's what suppression does. So you can get a 10 or a 1 tier gain to mobility. The stat splits I'm going to be running are 3, 10, 8, 7, 9, 5. The reasons for this is I don't have to go high on mobility. I'm a Titan to begin with, but even then, like I've said, I have at least 3 different ways to increase my mobility. One with being using Peacekeepers while I have an SMG out, and then 2 through the aspects that we talk about that boosted up the mobility as well. Suppressing a target gives a gain on this. Tier 10 Resil, I want Resil as high as possible, tied to the class ability cooldown. Tier 8 Recovery, we want to have fairly high recovery. Don't want to go too low on it. Shines at its best in aggressive gameplay, and you're going to want to have higher recovery if you're going to choose to, for lack of a better way to say, to ape a match. So just, yeah, you're going to have higher recovery stat if you're just going to be super aggressive with an SMG, CQB most of the game. You're going to want to have a high recovery stat. Discipline, I have it at tier 7. I want to have a fairly high uptime on the discipline stat, as suppressor nades are going to be pretty important. Maybe you're playing 6v6, you see more chances for people using supers more often, so you'll want to have a higher potential uptime for the discipline stat. May not be necessary to have it this high for trials, but it's still nice to have if someone somehow gets their super. You can maybe either hit them out of a roaming super, or maybe even potentially suppress some warlock that's going to try to OE to put a Well of Radiance down. It's good to have a fairly high, moderately high discipline stat if you choose to use the suppressor grenade. Intellect stat, I'm going tier 9. I do want a high cooldown on the Ward of Dawn super that we are using. Get that super down quickly, get the orbs for the teammates. Maybe the teammates are using a higher cooldown roaming super, get those orbs down for them, get that overshield for us, and maybe lock down an area like the Dominion in Trials. Moderate to midline strength stat. Try not to go too low on this, as it is responsible for the powered melee cooldown, and we are wanting to have some sort of uptime on it to use the shield bash for extra mobility, or map traversal rather. Weapons to pair this with, obviously since you're using PKs you will want to use an SMG. I have been having a lot of fun using Ikelos and Shiras with this. Mostly Shiras if I'm using Void, Ikelos if I'm using Arc. And then I really like to pair this with Forerunner. But obviously you don't have to pair it with Forerunner. If you like a sniper rifle, you can pair it with a sniper rifle. It goes very well with a sniper rifle. SMGs always do. So that way you can have that longer range engagement ability if you need it, and if you need to reposition you can swap out to your SMG and move a little bit faster. But I personally like pairing with the Forerunner. I think this is what works best for me, and I have some other primaries that I can swap to as well, like Revision 0. If I want to, I can pull out DMT, and if it's just all going to be close range I can use a shotgun. But I generally like to balance out the gameplay with something that can hit further. So that's pretty much going to be the build for the PK Bastion Void Titan V2. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments section below. I'm going to show some gameplay now.
Control.
Meltdown returning as a map.
Show your enemy
This season
belongs to you now. Take
the One
zone.
Dreaming City map coming back next season. I believe it's Citadel, if I'm not mistaken.
Captured Zone A. Enemy claimed Zone C.
I was expecting my melee to do a little bit more damage there. Wow.
power play. You took them, now hold. Double down. You're in the lead.
And that's why you use controlled demolitionist.
Zone B, power play.
So you can get health back on those melee kills.
One after another. Double down. A fire team that fights together stays together. Enemy has zone advantage.
Should be a big spawn flip here.
Zone C captured. You have advantage. Let them come. This is their fate.
I should have stayed up a little bit higher right there, but that's fine. We can get a triple cap here, hopefully.
They have advantage. You captured Zone A.
See how
You
fast
have
that
zone
ready speed
advantage.
is? For that SMG, insane.
Strength in numbers, guys. I've seen enough. I'm calling this one. Tell them to line up fast. A well-fought victory. Your victory gives the city hope.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you play PK Titans. It basically drives itself, well-oiled machine. I highly recommend that you try it out sometime. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.